Poyntzpass, a wee rural village divided by the railway and the canal into County Armagh and County Down. A very mixed village as regards religion, Protestant and Catholic. There's 4 churches, but it's a small village, 600 or 700 people, big farming area, a lot of big farmers out round it, but people have always got on well together. The Railway Bar, that's our pub here. We have owned the pub since 1885. I actually did the history of it, so that's how I know all about it. So it was my great-great-grandfather bought it. He bought it as somewhere to live as well as a place to work in, and a farmland along with it. And since that, up until now, there's been canavans behind the bar, and at the minute I'm the incumbent. Don't know if there's going to be another one after this. Can't see it maybe happening, but it's been that long in the family.
And why do you want to tell the story of what happened here 25 years ago?
Well, it's coming up to the 25 years, on the 3rd of March. That's 25 years since the shooting in here. And over the years, I've listened to people telling stories about what happened, and some of them have been right, some of them have been wrong. And I always told my mother someday that I would write it down what happened, because when you write it down, then it's usually fact at the time. Near the time it is, the more factual it's going to be. So a few years back I wrote down my experience of what happened on that particular night.
Brad, what are your memories from that night?
A car pulled up outside just after 9 o'clock, 9:15. My mother had just started her shift. There was a young girl working behind the bar, Lynn Moody, did the bar until 9 o'clock. She was only 16 or 17. Very fortunate she wasn't working, because I don't think she would have got away that night if things, the way that things turned out. But the guys come in, and unfortunately Philip and Damien were the first 2 seated here, just behind me on the back wall here. They were sitting there, not drinking. Both were drinking orange minerals. Damien worked as a recovery driver. He was on duty that night. Philip, I never saw Philip drinking, just come in to have a wee bit of crack. There was talk of Philip was getting married soon. Talk of Damien maybe being best man. It wasn't confirmed, but these chats were going on amongst themselves. I was told this later. There was 3 people up in the corner here, a child, a father and a mother, and a grandfather. There's a couple of guys standing along the bar. One of them was Philip's brother, David, and there's another guy just standing in behind the counter here. My mother was behind the counter. The guys came in, asked the 2 boys, told the 2 boys get down on the ground, put the 2 of them onto the ground here. And mother, she was behind the bar. She thought it was a robbery, so she instinctively ran in through this door here, and she put off lights, hoping it would maybe scare the people that had come in to do this crime, as she thought it was going to be. But then she heard the shooting, and she just couldn't believe it. There was Philip and Damien both on the ground. I think there was 4 put into one guy and 1 put into the other. Then the gunmen took 3 shots at my mother, and the 3 guns hit the side frame of the door, stuck in the side frame of the door, missed her, which was unbelievable because they seemed to be pretty well trained gunmen. Then they emptied the rest of the guns into the back corner here. The grandfather and father dived over the wee girl. She was only 8 or 9 at the time. One of the bullets went through the arm of the grandfather, I think it was. The other bullets went through coats, didn't really connect that with them. And then they ran out through the door, into the car, off they went in that car, and there was another car waiting for them over at Old Mill Road, and they made their way to there, burned the car and all the clothes they had on them, or most of the clothes and things they had on them, in the car, into the other car, and away back to Banbridge. All happened probably in the space of less than 2 minutes, and my mother always said it was like an eternity. When she looked back at it, it was so quick. After we got back into the bar, a few days later, there was blood absolutely everywhere. It was a horrendous scene even after the event, after the police had did their work as well. I like to see come in and, whenever I got back in again, had taken the bullets, but the 3 bullet holes were up there. The blood splattered out over the wallpaper, on the floor. It had hardened obviously over the few days. It was a horrendous scene. But that was really nothing compared to what the families were going through of the two guys that had been shot and the other people that were in the bar as well, because it was a traumatic experience for them all. And you know, I think every one of them that I know that was in the bar that day were affected to the day they died, and their families as well. Though they were the real losers.